we have the other candidate who is running against Ms. Lindley, David Hawkins, and we're delighted to have him. He has the stage for 20 minutes, and then at 8 o'clock we're going to go to the school superintendent. Mr. Hawkins, welcome, and can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the Leon County Commission?
Sure. Thank you for having me here. I moved to Tallahassee with my family and all back when I was 7 years old. I'll be 55 in mid-August, and Tallahassee has changed a lot over those years. I've been a blue-collar worker from job one right out of high school. Went to Lincoln High. I started watching the commission meetings, the city and county commission meetings, probably 10, 15 years ago. And I'm kind of wishing I never done that, because now I'm throwing my hat in the ring because I get frustrated listening to some of the stuff that they're doing. And I really want to make a difference here in Leon County. I love this place. It's been my home, and I just want to make a difference. I want to do good. For 26 years, just over 26 years, I've been a state employee. First 9 years was with the Department of Management Services, first off at the motor pool before they shut it down, then over to building maintenance, and I've been with the Department of Revenue ever since. And I've learned a lot working for the state, watching how they do things, and some things not that great. And I got friends that work for the city and for the county, and comparing notes and all three pretty much do the same thing. They're very similar. And all I can say is I want to make a difference. I want to make Leon County a safer, better place to live and raise your families.
Thank you. And how would you do this?
Basically, you got to start from the outside and work your way in. I want to work with LVWT and try and get them to give up 2 or 3 seats in each of their classes, because a lot of people aren't really meant to go to college, and LVWT would be a great career starter for a lot of people who have trouble getting jobs right now and they can't afford to go to Lively. So I'd like to implement a program where Lively will donate a couple of seats to each of their classes, and Leon County, and hopefully get the city involved, would pay for the books and the shop fees, and put some of these people that can't afford education and are just getting out of being incarcerated, who needs to do something to stay out of being incarcerated. They go to Lively, learn a trade. That'll make them easier to get jobs. Then they can start providing for their families, paying taxes, become productive citizens, and climb the corporate ladder. You got to work from the outside in and start from there.
Okay, very good. We talked a little bit the last session about the comprehensive plan to protect and enhance the quality of life in Leon County. You've probably heard a lot about the comprehensive plan and all those sessions that you've been attending. What are the circumstances do you think that the commission should use to justify amending the comprehensive plan?
They got to watch out for oversaturation. There's apartment complexes going up everywhere, and once more goes up, the older ones are going to become vacant, and now they're going to be putting a Publix and a second hotel at the corner of Gaines and Road Avenue. And it's getting to the point where they're building so much in certain areas, it's getting harder and harder to get around. And I'd like to see it get spread out more, but I'd like to see it well planned instead of oversaturation like it seems like they're trying to do now.
The earlier panel also talked a little bit about businesses and the importance of bringing businesses into Tallahassee, and whether businesses should be, and developers should be paying impact fees on new construction. And that's some disagreement on that. What's your position in placing impact fees on new construction to cover a lot of the things that you and others want to do?
Like some of the apartment complexes on West Tennessee Street, you can see where turn lanes were put in and traffic lights were put up. Those were paid, I'm sure, by the apartment developers. But as far as giving the mobility fees like they're talking about, where they're wanting them to pay an extra fee for the extra traffic on the roads, I don't believe in that, because the property was already zoned for what was going in there. The county should have thought ahead and realized that it was going to be inevitable. More cars were going to be going to that area, more people are going to be going to that area, and you shouldn't penalize the developers for the inevitable.
Okay. What actions do you think Leon County Commission should take to address gun violence in Leon County?
Like was said earlier, I believe more patrols in the higher crime areas, and I see a lot of the patrol cars around town where they're sitting in parking lots, taking their breaks, or doing their reports and all. I'm fine with that, they gotta do that, but do it in the higher crime areas so they can be seen. And, you know, like they've said earlier, I totally believe being seen will stop a lot of the crimes. And they need to start getting out of the patrol cars also in some of the neighborhoods and subdivisions and getting to know the people that they're trying to protect and become a positive influence and a major implant in that community.
Okay. Do you have a plan for dealing with the homeless population in the county?
That's a tough question. They built, I think they call it the Kearney Center on Pensacola Street, and for what they spent on that place, they could have built something a lot bigger to help out, and it didn't have to be as fancy as it is. And every time I go by there, it's like in the morning they send them out, and all they're doing is hanging out on the roads and all now, when they could be putting them to work there, keeping the place clean and maintenance and all that, giving them a trade or whatever, so they can eventually get out and get jobs on their own. They need to work on getting them training for that, so they can provide for themselves.
So we talked a little bit last time about the environment, particularly about septic tanks and Wakulla Springs. What's your thought on, for them, your at-large position in terms of the septic tanks issue in the county?
I would love to see every house get put on city or Talcott sewer. Like as mentioned, it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to be able to do the whole county at one time. But they should be able to start doing that in the worst areas like Woodville and all, because we got to protect our water. And I've heard them talk about the septic tanks and improving them and putting in the newer ones and all. That costs just as much as hooking them up to sewer. They can run the sewer, the Talcott and the city can run the sewers down the streets. I used to live on one. They dug up the whole street, put city sewer and water. They did Dome Level Road, part of Indian Church, and Gum Road. And not that many of them are hooked up to it yet because they want to charge a lot. But if they got the money to put them down there without knowing if anybody's going to hook up to them, they can start doing the other areas around town. And I feel that they need to, instead of a one-time small fee, because with the government there's no such thing as a one-time small fee, they need to do a small monthly fee on their bills, you know, $20 or whatever, and then if they go to sell the property, it pays it off. They add to the price of that to pay it off. But they need to start doing that now, and they can start in certain areas that really need it bad and then work their way around. And I don't think it's going to take 150 years.
I have a question from the audience. You mentioned oversaturation, specifically apartment complex. Perhaps the biggest actor of this is FSU. How would you work with FSU, or how would you work with others to try to prevent this oversaturation?
I think right now, from when you drive down Tennessee Street and Tharp Street, there's pretty much enough apartments out there to go around. And there's building some more on Gaines, around Stadium Drive and all. We need to pretty much slow down on that. Because you got Jefferson Point and some others over on Tharp Street. They're going to be emptying out pretty soon to go fill up all those brand new ones because everybody wants to be in the newest one. So they need to start worrying about what they're going to be doing with the emptier ones, with the empty ones.
So what should the county commission be doing?
stop issuing permits for a while, because we got a whole bunch of apartments around here.
Okay. So I didn't know this was an issue, but I'll ask you, how could the county get more of its residents to participate in the waste recycling program?
Right now, the outskirts of the county, from what I've been seeing, doesn't have the recycle stuff like the city does. We don't have the recycle buckets and things that the city gave out, and I'd like to see them do that. And they have the facilities right there at the Appalachia Park that handles all that, but now people have to put it in their car to take it there. So I don't know why they don't put the buckets out at all the houses.
That's the next meeting you go to. You can talk about that too. So the last question I wanted to ask you was about what you think how you think the city and county could work together better, or do you think that they work just fine together and that's not an issue?
They're working together pretty good, and like they always say, there's always room for improvement. I've been watching the meetings, and the county has been putting a lot of their agendas on hold because they're waiting for the city to do their meetings, and then they can get together and all. It's like they need to do scheduling a little bit better and communicate a lot better. But they are working. They just need to do more communications and line things up.
Terrific. Okay, anything else? You have a privileged position, or a tough position, sort of 30 questions here. Anything else you'd like to sort of say at this time?
I've had a lot of people ask me why I won't run, why I'm not running for my district. I'm in District 5. I would rather run for the whole county because I've lived here for over 45 years. I've lived in different parts of the county, and I'd rather help the whole county instead of just a little piece of it.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Hawkins, for staying, for being here and for answering the questions. Thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.